We shall now look at how to book these takeoffs, the ones we have done, these bookings, in a bill of quantities. So we shall begin with the first one, which we used here. The first takeoff we did, it was about excavation. How do you book these things in a bill of quantities? So we have the excavation work. We started with excavation of topsoil with 150 millimeters thick, and we got 2.55. So when you come to the bill of quantity, you see the bill of quantity is usually like this. There's the item number, there's the description, the quantity, the unit, the rate, and the amount. Remember, we usually just come, add the rate, then we multiply by the quantity, by the rate, we get the amount. Quantity times rate, we get the amount. So if we want to get the total cost of coming up with the total cost for the excavation, concrete work, formwork, and reinforcement in these columns, column footings and stumps, we shall just add the total cost here. So when we are coming to book it, we shall write excavation work. The first item, excavation of topsoil, 150 millimeters. And we write the total that we got, 2.55, and it's in cubic meters. Just as you can see, we got 22.55 meter cubic. All right. We shall come to excavation of trench depth not exceeding 1.5. We got 25.50. So we shall come and write excavation of trench depth not exceeding 1.5 meters. The total volume is 25.50. It is in cubic meters. We go to the third item, which is excavation of trench depth not exceeding 3 meters. So it shall be excavation of trench depth not exceeding, it's exceeding 1.5 but not exceeding 3 meters, and the volume of the soil is 4.25. It is in cubic meters. We go to concrete work. We book the first item, concrete grade 1:3:6, 20 millimeters aggregate for footings. Where do we get the concrete? We shall get it in the takeoff that we did. We got 6.80. So we shall just come and add 6.80. All right. So we shall go to the second item, concrete grade 1.24, 1:2:4, 20 millimeters aggregate for stump. We get 0.34 cubic meters. So we shall come and refer. It's this one. We got 0.34. All right. We come to the next one, formwork. Rough surface formwork for footings. We got 16 meter cubic, 15 meter squared. So we just write here, it's the item is formwork. Rough surface formwork for footings, we get 16 square meter. The next one, rough surface formwork for side of stump, we get 6.24. Can we confirm whether we got that? It is here, rough surface formwork for side of stump, 6.24 meters. So we go to the next item, which is reinforcement. When we are entering the reinforcements, we will begin with the Y16, then we go to Y12, then we go to R6. When we come to Y16, we will take all the values that we have got for Y16. Then we will add them and get the total. For example, the one that we did, the reinforcement for the stump, we got the reinforcement for the stump. We start with reinforcement for the footing, 2000 by 2000 by 400. The total length was 59.36. This is Y16. The next Y16 was the reinforcement for footing, base, 1500 by 1500 by 400. We got a total length of 64.80. Then we got reinforcement for stump, 250 by 250. Y16, we got 20.56. So we shall take the total of the three. The 59.36 plus 64.80 plus 20.56. We got 144.72 meters. When we are buying a reinforcement, we buy them in kilograms. How do we find the kilograms of 144.72 meters? We usually take R pi R squared. You see, a reinforcement bar is usually like this. It's like a cylinder. So we take pi r squared cross-sectional area times the length. So pi, that 3.14 times r, this one, y16, it was 16 millimeters diameter. So the radius shall be 8. 8 millimeters diameter in meters, it shall be 0.008 squared times the length, total length of the reinforcement. Then we multiply by the density of the steel bar to get weight, because mass is equals to density times volume. So we get to 28.30 kilograms. For the Y12, we shall get the total meters, and Y12 was only used, in the reinforcement for the stump 200 by 200, and the Y12, the meters was 38.14. So we shall write 38.14, then we calculate the total volume by taking pi r squared, Y12, radius of 12 is 6, times the length, we multiply by the density, we get the mass. We go to R6, we used to R6 in the stirrups, and the stirrups we got, the first one was 23.81, 23.81 M6. Then there's another M6 that we got. It was the stirrups for the stump, the links for the stump 250 by 250. So this one was for the stump 250 by 250. The other one was for the links or the stirrups for stump 200 by 200. So we get the total of this one and the other one. So the total for M6 shall be 17 plus 23.81. We get 40.81 meters. So to get the volume of those reinforcement bars, pi r squared times the length. R, the diameter is 6. The radius is 3. So then we multiply by the density to get the mass. So the mass of the R6 shall be 9.05 kg. So when we want to get the total cost of doing all these things, we'll just put the rates in the columns. Then we just multiply quantity times rate, we get the cost. Quantity times rate, we get the cost. Then when we add all these costs, we shall get the total cost for doing the excavation work, concrete work, formwork, and reinforcement. Alright, so we are done with the takeoff for the reinforcement, excavation, and formwork for the foundation concrete columns, in the stumps, in the footings, and in the footings.